Hello and welcome to another day in paradise, and welcome to another edition of the Unapologetic Negropian. In today's video, Sadie and Jarvis are two African-American YouTubers who I managed to stumble on at some point in the early hours of this morning. They have 3 kids. 2 of them are twins and another older son. However, none of these children are their biological children. Okay, and I think it's quite important for me to mention that straight off the bat. Actually, do I have to mention it to you? Let's take a look at those pictures. I think it's quite clear to many people from these pictures that they are not their biological children. I mean, okay, they could be children that have very little to no pigment in their skin. They could even be albinoids, but they are not. They're just children who are not biologically related to either Sadie or Jarvis. Now, over the last couple of weeks, they've come under quite a lot of criticism from the mainly African-American community, people who have questioned their intentions. Ask them why. Why would you choose an embryo which is not an embryo of your own kin, okay, not from your ethnicity or your race? It's almost as if they purposefully went out to make sure that they didn't have black children. I found this fascinating, and I thought I'd listen to her reasons for not having any black children, not choosing any black embryos. And what I found was, I actually found it quite disturbing. So what did I find? Well, I'm going to go into this right now. But first, I'm going to ask you, like always, to please like, subscribe, share, click the bell notification. And please consider supporting the channel on our Patreon, link in the description. I'd also like to invite you to please follow the Oversight channel, the channel that is there to help you to invest on the African continent, both safely and securely. Link also in the description. I think it's better if we hear it from the horse's mouth. Let's take a listen to what she had to say.
We are a transracial adoptee family. I'm black, my husband's black, and our children are white and Hispanic. Our oldest son is Ezra. He is white. He was adopted traditionally. Our girls are adopted. I don't like to use the term adopted because we didn't go through the adoption process. It's not quite the same thing. We did embryo donation, but sometimes embryo adoption just may make the process easier for people to understand it. I always kind of say adoption meets surrogacy. The number one thing that you guys want to know is why we chose to adopt, or why we chose donated embryos that are not black, that are white. Why did you guys adopt white embryos? Why would you, a black person, choose to have white kids? Initially, when we first started looking into embryo adoption, or even whenever we found out we had male factor infertility, when we started looking for like a sperm donor, initially the selection for black donors was just completely almost non-existent.
Now, I believe this 100%. There isn't a lot of black men, so-called black men, in the United States or anywhere in the world that actually goes to donate their sperm. I think there is a good reason for this. I think that we, as especially black people in the diaspora, we have a lot of trust issues. A lot of us know how bad people are in this world, and we don't want to stick any of our children, regardless of who birthed that child, we wouldn't want to stick that child in any situation that could prove to be awkward or even dangerous for them.
There was a handful of black donors for sperm donation and for embryo donation. For us, and having a son that is adopted, we know how important it is for not to have an open adoption. So an open adoption implies that the birth parents have rights, like legally they have to be able to see the children. Legally you have to have visitation, you have to send pictures, you have to do all this stuff. We don't have an open adoption with Ezra's birth parent.
So it's important that you know that they have a closed adoption with their eldest son. However, even though it's a closed adoption, i.e. the parents don't have any legal right to see this child, Sadie and Jarvis still keep a rather close relationship with the parents of that child, which means that the parents are still able to see him. They are able to regulate some form of relationship until that boy is of an age where he gets to make a decision whether or not he gets to have a relationship with his biological parents or not. So I had to take a listen to what some of these people who are criticizing this couple, what's their problem? Why are they criticizing them? Why are they really going after these two? And it isn't just about their kids being white. I think it's more about them choosing to have a child that is white. And it is their choice. Remember this. They knowingly went out to have children. So they had an embryo placed inside of this lady that was half white, half Hispanic. So those kids have come out in reality. They look white.
Yes, there were black embryos available through a clinic and through an agency. Neither of which those options that we found with the clinics that we searched, which we searched through a lot of clinics, none of them had open embryo donation. All of it was anonymous until the child was at least 18 years of age, which we did not want at all. So that's why we chose the embryos that we chose, because we wanted an open relationship.
So I think that what these guys have done is that they've chosen to have children that will look like their eldest son. I also think that what they've done is they like the attention that this child, Ezra, the boy, what he has given to them. And I think this has a lot to do with social media. I truly do believe that they liked the attention that Ezra has given to them and said, hey, let's do this again. Let's have an embryo. Let's have two embryos. Let's have two white twins. Bam! Look how much kudos that's going to give us. Perhaps not in the African American community, but definitely throughout the wider community.
I said, hey, if you have embryos or if you know anybody that has embryos that wants to donate them, contact me. Reach out to me, because we are wanting to grow our family in this specific way. Never did I say they have to be white, or never did I say they have to be black, or never did I say I want them a specific race.
There you go. She said it herself. Okay, so those kids, I mean, especially if you have two sets of children, okay, and that's what she's had. So she's had the older child and now she has the set of twins. The two twins are, of course, going to be the same. However, what they didn't want was an irregularity in the race of their family makeup.
With us private matching, I posted in Facebook groups for embryo donation. I posted on this app called Peanut for it's like a mom group for like you to meet moms in your area. I posted there, and I posted basically all over Instagram, social media, Facebook groups, just saying we're looking to adopt embryos. If you or anyone you know has embryos they would like to donate, please contact me. We had a total of 3 embryos from them, but we lost 2 of them when I had my miscarriage. So we do stay in contact with them, but we still have one of their embryos frozen, and we might use that. If we do another transfer, we might end up donating it to another family. We don't know.
Oh, goodness, this is terrible. I hated the way she was speaking. She was speaking about embryos and sperm like they are, I don't know, something that you dish out at a party. There's something about it which just doesn't agree with me. Yeah, I understand that there are parents out there that don't have that ability to give birth to children. And I understand if you, for whatever reason, cannot have children, that you're able to go out and do things like this. But when you see them sit down and talk like it's, you know, it's almost nonchalantly about them having these embryos impregnated in them and having a couple of embryos left. Oh, I might pass these ones out. For some reason, guys, this just doesn't sit well with me.
But never did we ever say, yes, we only want white embryos. Some people have this impression that because Ezra was white, we wanted him to have siblings that were also white. No, that was not the case at all. We could not have cared less. The things that were the most important to us were, are the donors good human beings? Do they help the community? Are they good parents? Do they have good genetics? Do they have a lot of issues with diabetes and high blood pressure and different things like that?
The reasons why she chose these embryos was because she wanted to make sure those children got to have an open relationship. I think this is a very flaky excuse. I think they actively went out to look for white donors. They said they came across black donors, but they gave really no excuse for taking on these black donors. It was pretty flaky, to be honest with you, these excuses. And you could see that she is struggling to answer that question in particular. Why did you not take the next step? You know, is there something about yourself that you don't like? Is there something about adopting white children that gives you a power trip? You know, you don't know. And this is part of the reason why I don't like saying this, guys, but I just have really bad feelings about seeing children in the hands of people who are not of their kin. I think it's important for that child's mental health. I think it's important for everything because, you know, that child, especially here in the West, let's say you have a black child and you have white parents. That black child is going to be treated differently than the white parents. How are those white parents going to be able to teach that black child how things work here in the West for a black child? They're not going to be able to because they don't have any experience. Guys, she could have gone to Africa. She could have. There are plenty of countries in Africa that have plenty of donors, okay? It's a whole continent of black people in Africa, and you do not need to go to the United States government to ask their blessings on whether you get IVF treatment in Africa or not. You can just go and do it.
But we did not choose specifically, oh yes, we want white embryos. That's not how it went. That's just kind of how it worked out.
We know you didn't, but you didn't have to, did you? All you had to do was say, oh, okay, I want to make sure that my children have an open adoption. That was it. And you knew you was going to cut out 90% of the black people who had already donated their embryos and their sperm.
If somebody called me today and said, hey, I have embryos, I want to donate them to you, and they're black embryos, I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to say yes just because they're black. There's so many different factors that go into selecting donor conception.
If the parents are good people with good genes and everything is good, why would they be giving their embryos to you? Don't be silly. This is not a good reason, okay? Stop being fake about this. It's not the real reason why she chose those embryos.
When people say things like, oh, she has low self-esteem because she doesn't want kids the same color as her. What? Like, that doesn't even make sense. I have low self-esteem because I have white children.
Lady, are you nuts? 99.99% of white people who are having children in the United States are having children with other white people. So they are asking for white embryos. They are asking for white sperm donations. They're not looking for Hispanic, black, Latino, Asian. They're not looking for anything else. And that is because they love themselves. They love who they are. They are proud of their heritage. And there is nothing racist about that. I don't see anything wrong with being in love with who you are and where you've come from. Okay, but there is a problem when you don't, and then you go and look for children who do not look like you.
I just ignore you guys that talk trash because at the end of the day, you watch the videos, whatever. I still got to say what I needed to say. That's it. What you guys have to say is irrelevant to me. Please remember, at any time, we can quit this YouTube channel.
Never in a million years would this woman ever quit YouTube. She has YouTube, she has Instagram, she has Twitter, she has Snapchat, she has every conceivable social media platform, and YouTube is by far the most lucrative. So this is nothing but an empty threat.
We can stop posting these videos. We do this to document our family journey for us. So please stop being hateful. Stop calling me a mammy. Stop calling me the N-word. Stop saying all these hateful things, because at the end of the day, I'm still here.
Honestly, guys, I don't think she has low self-esteem. I don't think she hates herself, but I do believe that they did this because of social media. These are guys who are looking for clout. They are looking for a name, okay? And there is one way you can get yourself a name, and that is by having an alternative family. That is exactly what they have gone out to get. And of course, they're going to get a lot of attention. They have 50,000 subscribers, so clearly this ploy is working. Now guys, I haven't made this video to put them down, and I really wish them all the best. Their children are beautiful, and I hope that they are able to cope with them as they grow older and they start getting questions asked themselves, because clearly they don't look anything like their adoptive parents. But whether or not these children end up getting picked on because of their family, whether or not these children will grow up in a different world where people are a lot more open-minded, I think at the end of the day, true love will conquer all. Until the next time, please think twice. Torah a bit.